Good afternoon, everybody. Hope your day is going well, and I just can't help myself. It is entirely possible that what I'm about to talk about in this video is a waste of time. It's entirely possible that talking about what we're going to talk about in this video from a Seahawks perspective is just not valuable. It's very possible this team has already decided that this is not a path they want to go down. And if they do, I would understand it, but I can't help myself because it makes a little too much sense for me to ignore. So, about 15 minutes ago, Adam Schefter tweeted this. NFL has informed suspended former All-Pro wide receiver Josh Gordon that it is reinstating him, sources tell ESPN. Gordon is expected to be eligible to play as early as week 4. So sound the Josh Gordon alarm, set off the siren. He is ready to play football again, and hopefully this time it actually sticks. Now, we've done the Josh Gordon dance a couple times already, and other than a pretty decent stretch of football in 2019, like, what was it, 5 games, it's mostly ended in disappointment. But I don't know. I just don't quite know how to quit him. Schefter also tweeted Josh Gordon's new agent, Zach Hiller from LAA Sports Ent. I don't know. I guess that's sports entertainment agency. We are grateful that the NFL appreciates the work that Josh put in, and now he has earned another opportunity to be a part of this league. We are proud of Josh, and I know all the fans can't wait to see him on Sunday. So, seems like there was a little bit of a breakthrough. Seems like that there's some sort of understanding between Gordon and the NFL at this point, and it is reasonable to think that he is now actually going to be allowed to play. So, the question is, would he play for the Seahawks? Would the Seahawks want him? Does he make sense in this offense? Does he make sense with this personnel? Does he make this team better if he were added to it? So, we know a couple things. One, Josh Gordon runs the kinds of routes that Wilson does like to throw. I think from the admittedly small sample size we got from him in 2019, we kind of figured that out. The kinds of routes that Wilson likes, Gordon also likes. And you can't say that about every player that Wilson works with, has worked with in his NFL career, but I feel like you can say it about Josh Gordon. The fit kind of makes sense to me on that front. We also know that multiple times the Seahawks were the only team to give Josh Gordon a chance. Pretty much every team in the league could have picked him up a couple years ago. Every team in the league could have picked him up last year. None of them really showed interest except for the Seahawks. And I believe Josh Gordon's living in the Washington area now, and he seems to really like it here. And there's every reason to believe that if there was any opportunity to come back to Seattle, he would choose to come back here over any other place. So, beyond that, I'm looking at the receivers on this team, and some people are critical of our depth. Some people are critical of our talent level there. I've gotten some comments in streams lately. People saying things like, we have 2 receivers on this depth chart who belong in the NFL, and everyone else shouldn't even be on a team, much less playing, which I don't agree with, but there are some shortcomings at our receiver spot for sure. And even our top guys, Lockett and Metcalf, there are some things that they cannot do. And that's not really a knock on either of those guys. I don't think poorly of those guys, but there are some things that they cannot do that I think Josh Gordon would fill the gaps with. And we also know, and I'm going to talk more about this later today, Dwayne Eskridge is going to miss another game, which is surprising to me and really unfortunate. Now, obviously, bringing in Josh Gordon now is not going to alleviate that issue this week because he's not going to be able to play this week no matter what. However, bringing in Josh Gordon could give us some security behind Dwayne Eskridge in week 4 if he can, or maybe he won't be able to play in week 4. And if he is able to play in week 4, we also know that he might be a little fragile. It's possible. Some people are already comparing him to Percy Harvin. And I don't know if that's fair yet or not, but he has already had 2 injuries so far in his NFL career, and he's only played 12 snaps. So the Josh Gordon thing just makes a little sense to me. And you could argue that there are other guys out there who would be better than Josh Gordon. There are other receivers out on the market that you could get who are better than Gordon, but I don't know. It seems like things are just kind of lining up here for me. So, Freddie Swain also showed up on the injury report this week, and it looks like he's fine. It was a minor thing. He practiced yesterday. He practiced today. I'm not too worried about that, but I don't know how good Freddie Swain is. And behind him, you got guys like Penny Hart, who the team likes, but he hasn't done anything in the NFL yet, really. And then you've got Kay Johnson and Aaron Fuller, and Cody Thompson, who haven't done anything in the NFL yet either. So it's a little embarrassing that one guy gets hurt and you immediately have to start digging around at the bottom of the barrel to try to find replacements. It speaks to your lack of depth, but this seems like a timely opportunity. You could get Josh Gordon for very little money, probably no guarantees because the season's already started, and it's not like teams are going to be lining up to give this guy a chance. The only team that I've heard other than the Seahawks that would have any interest is the Colts, and, well, I don't know about that. If Gordon has a choice between Indianapolis and Seattle, I have to believe he would choose Seattle because he's played with these players before. He's played with this quarterback before. I think that means something to him. So, Josh Gordon, are we going to do it? What do you guys think? I understand this might sound like I'm kind of clinging to something that I should just let go. I understand this might sound like I should probably be looking at other players. I should probably be looking at our young talent. I should probably be using this opportunity to think we need to get Cade Johnson out on the field. We need to see what he can do because he's got talent. He's got potential. He was probably our most talented UDFA pickup other than maybe Jake Curhan, and I think that Cade Johnson is probably more talented than Jake Curhan. So I should probably be doing all that. But I feel like Josh Gordon fits well. I think this would be a timely addition. And I also suspect that this team really cannot sustain another ding at wide receiver. And by the way, Metcalf is fine, but he did kind of sort of limp off the field at the end of that Titans game. And I hate to be the guy to say this, but we've gotten very lucky with Metcalf so far in his career based off what he did in college. In college, he got hurt multiple times. In the NFL, it hasn't happened yet, but we've kind of gotten lucky to dodge that scenario. So I'm looking at Josh Gordon and thinking this makes sense. And I think I'd like to bring him in. And now that he's cleared by the NFL, there's no reason not to. So get him in the facility, get him ready for week 4. If Dwayne Eskridge can play week 4, great. If he can't, then okay, you've got a contingency plan. And yeah, pull the trigger. What do we have to lose? All right, let me know what you guys think down below. I will see you guys later today. Peace out. Go Hawks.